Broadcasting from Detroit's Cass Corridor, it's the Metro on WDET. I'm Kerry Jr. II.
And I'm Robin Vincent. Today on the show, what if punching the clock meant sharing profits?
Employee ownership puts power in workers' hands, and Michigan wants more companies to join.
Plus, Spotify is haunted by ghost musicians, AI-generated tracks posing as artists, some long dead.
We'll unravel the mystery of AI imposters, where they come from, and their impact on culture and the music industry more broadly.
But first, federal immigration enforcement has intensified under the Trump administration. And it has much of Detroit's immigrant communities living with a lot of angst. Federal policies have shifted the ground beneath their feet. That's especially true in Detroit's District 6. That's where Southwest Detroit's large immigrant population calls home. Gabriela Santiago-Romero represents that area on the Detroit City Council. And it's personal for her. She's a Mexican immigrant who grew up in the neighborhood she represents. Since President Trump stepped up immigration enforcement, she's been out more, speaking with her neighbors about their rights and advocating for ways they can live each day with less fear. Today, she joins us to discuss the layers of pressure, opportunity, and accountability shaping her work and her community, and what it means to work on issues that are closely linked with her own identity. Council member, welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me.
So before we discuss this moment, I want to go back, if we could. You grew up in Southwest Detroit, and now you represent that same community on the city council. I'm wondering, how does your upbringing influence your priorities today?
Thank you for the question and for having this conversation. I think we are tiptoeing around it right now. I mean, to just dig in. For me, growing up in Southwest Detroit as an immigrant, I was undocumented for a good portion of my childhood. I witnessed my mom go through the immigration process, be met with just rudeness, asking her why she doesn't speak English, having me be the translator. I remember when I was young, all of our offices are downtown. She was scared to drive around downtown. I remember her once being lost and calling my dad, crying, asking him where to go because she just didn't know where to go. So that was back then. That was 10, 15, 20 years ago. And that was when it was easy, when we had a immigration process that most folks could go through, become citizens, or have DACA. And now things have gotten 10 times worse. If it was hard for me and my family growing up in a time where it was easy, what we're going through right now is really unbearable. I know that there are many families that are self-deporting because they're scared to be here. Many people feeling as if they don't have the support that they need from the government, from police. So it's just been really hard, kind of traumatic. Because I've had family deported and they were deported under the Obama administration. So really for me, I know deeply it doesn't matter who's in office, Democrat or Republicans. We've had this we've had this problem, but now we are definitely made the enemy and the target.
Can you talk a little bit about the untold experience of being deported? I think some people would imagine, of course, that it is traumatic, that it is disruptive. I think there are a lot of emotions involved, though, that many people on the outside probably wouldn't understand. Can you talk about what you experienced seeing family members deported?
Yeah, when my aunt got deported, she ran her own landlord business. She had a few apartment complexes in Southwest Detroit, provided rents at $300 to $500 a month, very, very affordable for families that needed the opportunity. And she got deported. My little cousin, who was a child at that time, had to go with her. He knew no Spanish, knew nobody back in Mexico. His family, his friends, his schooling was here. So you're ripping a woman from her family, and we have a very big family, You're taking someone that's a landlord, providing a business, providing housing for people in the neighborhood, and then you're taking her son, who does not know Mexico at all, to then have to grow up in a place that he doesn't know. What it did to me and my family was heartbreaking. When we had a going away party for her, it was one of the saddest days ever. And we don't think about what it does to her siblings, my mom, her brothers and sisters, to us, nieces and nephews, who really love her deeply. We haven't seen her back here. It's been now over 10 years. And it's gotten even more expensive to try to go through the process. So you don't think about the fact that it's impacting not just her immediate family, her extended family, and the community as well.
Council member, I'm wondering how witnessing this and also your story, being a Mexican immigrant who's lived the realities that many in your district face, how that's shaped the way that you're drafting policy, whether it has to do with IDs, housing, or environmental justice.
Mm-hmm. I know that we need protections. I know that we need to think ahead of time. When it came to our Detroit ID, that was one of the very first things that we worked on when I got elected. We had a company at that point that was known to collect information and give that information to federal agents like ICE. So we fought to pause the program. That happened. It's now in-house. And we had the foresight to know that if Trump was ever to come back into office, or someone like Trump that would take this data and use it against us, we don't collect any information through our Detroit ID program. We go through a point system, we review documents, we give it back to you, but none of that is stored, because we know and we saw that if there was somebody in office that wants that information for deportation, they could have pulled it. We're seeing them do this right now in Chicago. They did this in Washington County, but we had that foresight. Because I know that it does not matter if they're Democrats or Republicans in office, I spend a lot of my time working with people on the ground and doing a lot of mutual aid work. I have seen success and power in the Migra Watch, in the ICE Watch work that we're doing here in the community. I know that's really where we have to be putting our efforts in, because I've gone to the courts, I've tried to go in, they refuse to let me in. I have showed up to people's homes where there had just been ICE agents trying to take people out and successfully doing so. And I'm asking them, the families that are left, asking them if they showed them a warrant. They were not shown a warrant. So it really does not seem like there are any people following the rules if we set them. So really the work goes down to making sure people are looking out for their neighbors, are showing up to documents when ICE is in your neighborhood, making sure that you provide rides to children, to schools, whatever it is that people need. That's what we have to be working on right now.
On the topic of deportations, you know, some people will make the argument that there are cases where deportation is justified. What do you say to that?
I don't think so. We don't have a process right now for people. The process right now for people to become citizens is really, really difficult. This is literally a nation of immigrants. To be fighting immigration in general, to me, seems unfair, and seems to be like a conversation that right now is just rooted in racism, because the people that we are saying can't be here, should not go through this process, are Black and brown immigrants. We have seen this administration bring white Africans here. So this is just a conversation that to me feels like it's really unfair. We're not being honest about who we're letting in, because we definitely do allow folks to come in, but right now it's not Black or brown folks.
You mentioned that you had family members deported. That was under the Obama administration. I'm wondering what kinds of differences, if any, you're seeing right now between the enforcement that is happening under President Trump versus former President Obama and former President Biden. It's
aggressive. It's incredibly aggressive right now. It's scary. It feels very much like these federal agents are bullies. People in the community are scared. And they are walking around with what feels like this new energy of they can do whatever they want. Where in the past there was accountability. I think they had their marching orders to follow the law. But now I am not hearing criminals being deported. I'm hearing fathers, sons, boyfriends, grandfathers that are being deported with no criminal record, who have been here, some of them for over 10, 20 years. And now ICE is stopping them at stop signs, at red lights, at the gas station, while they're picking up their children, while they're leaving church, while they're just driving around. This was not the fact before. And this is why it feels so much more aggressive right now. And like as if no one is safe. We thought, that it was certain immigrants. No, it does not matter. And we're grabbing citizens. We're picking up citizens. We have seen the stories of vets who are citizens, vets who have permission to be here, who are also being picked up by federal agents.
So in your eyes, under President Trump, federal immigration agents are acting in ways that reflect they feel this new level of authority, and they feel more emboldened. And we are seeing masked agents taking people off streets. What's gone through your mind when you've seen images or videos like that?
It's terrifying. That's where the trauma is re-triggered because I just remember my aunt, who wasn't even taken that way. She was able to be dropped off at the airport with family with her. But to see people just ripped away, their families not know where they're at, having a difficult time locating them, it is absolutely terrifying, knowing that we have an administration that does not care where they land, that just wants them out. It's when you don't know how to plan and prepare, and when you don't know what's going to happen, that leads to a new level of distress and anxiety and fear that I think is really paralyzing a lot of people right now.
This is the Metro on WDET. We're talking about aggressive immigration enforcement under President Trump, how it's affecting immigrant communities in Detroit, and what's missing from the conversation. Our guest is Detroit City Council member Gabriela Santiago-Romero. Council member, city councils across the country are debating sanctuary declarations. You endorsed immigration protections, but you've warned that strong resolutions need real-world backing. What does that mean, and why be cautious?
When I first ran for office, I pushed on sanctuary cities. Trump was not in office during that time. Now where I stand is that we need sanctuary policies that protect immigrants, that prevents our police from working with federal agents. But when I talk to my colleagues in Chicago and in LA, cities that are sanctuary cities, and when I ask them what has been the benefits, is there a benefit or are you a target? They have told me we are a target. We do not have strong policies in place. This is just a name, a title for us without any of the teeth. And now we actually have to work backwards. We have to, even after we call ourselves a sanctuary city, now we have to go to the police and have these tough conversations with them when we should have just had the policies in place in the first place. I know there's a lot of people in Detroit, Metro Detroit, that want the city of Detroit to become a sanctuary city. I understand that need and that plea, but what I'm asking folks is to focus on making sure that we're protecting people, that we're a part of ICE Watch, that we are doing Know Your Rights trainings, that we are providing mutual aid if we know there's a family now that has lost the breadwinner, the person that was able to drive a car, because that is happening. We are seeing women and grandmothers and children being left as now the only people in their home without speaking any English, without a car, without someone now bringing in food or money for bills. This is what we need right now. I don't see a title benefiting us, especially if it means that Trump is going to now target and do more enforcements. We already are a border state. We already have a lot of federal agents activity here. I'm trying to prevent more of that happening, but I definitely want to make sure that we have policies in place to protect people.
This sounds to me like it's really speaking to your background as a social worker, because you're talking about systems, you're talking about communities, you're talking about things in a very holistic way. And social work is a profession that emphasizes social justice, equity, and advocacy for marginalized communities. I'm wondering how your training and experience as a social worker has shaped the way you're approaching this moment beyond what you've just described, which really I think does speak to it.
Yeah, thank you for that, because I don't think a lot of people recognize how good social workers could be for these roles. And to your points, I also think very much, not just strategically, but think about impact. And as social workers, I graduated from the University of Michigan with my master's in social work. You think about systems, you think about how policies impact people and what that actually means. So if I think about becoming a sanctuary city, and what that would mean, us being targeted more federal agents, knowing that we don't have the policies to protect people, we are further harming people. I'm not trying to just do a thing to say that I'm doing a thing. Quite frankly, at this point, if impacted people are not asking to become a sanctuary city, it's virtue signaling. I'm not here to do virtue signaling. I'm here to serve people immediately in what they need. So I think as social workers, we think of systems as a whole. We think of impact. We think of lessening the harm in our communities. We think of care first, and not just saying a thing to feel good about it. We think about what is going to actually happen if we move forward with this strategy. How are the ways that we have to protect our people or ourselves if we move forward and do this work? And what are other ways that we can be helping our people now, really meeting their needs, meeting them where they're at, and giving them something that can actually be beneficial?
Well, and I know when it comes to meeting people's needs, meeting them where they're at, that you're on the ground trying to do that. And it has me wondering if you've spoken with people in your district who are in favor of more immigration enforcement.
No. Folks in District 6, as far as I know, are not trying to do more immigration enforcements. Unfortunately, if you look at any comment section, you will hear the vast opinions that there are around enforcement, and some of them are heartbreaking. And sure, some of those might live in this district, in the city as well. We hear it. But for me, it's a very small, often loud minority, but it's small. And as a whole, in District 6, we do not want to see police working with ICE. We have had people call police asking them for help, and police telling them, close your door if you don't have a warrant, but then federal agents coming in anyways. So I think what the city wants is to know how we're going to be able to work together with our administration here locally, how they're going to protect us, and they don't want to see any more federal enforcement. It's hurting our businesses. It's hurting our families. It's hurting children in their attendance to school. I do not believe we need more of it.
We know that immigration is a central issue in your district, but you've also taken stands on many other things, on housing, on public health, and surveillance. If you had to pick one to prioritize, which of those issues do you feel is most pressing for residents right now?
Well, if you ask me in District 6 in Southwest particularly, it would be immigration. If you're asking me as a city as a whole, it would be housing. And this also impacts folks that are new immigrants in the city of Detroit. It used to be very much an accessible American dream. That's why we did it. We were able to buy our first home, I believe, for about $20,000 or $40,000. We were able to find rent at $500 or less. We were able to afford our food and gas. That is not the case right now. I know that there are people living in homes where there are a lot of families in one home. So we have right now, I think, landlords taking advantage of the fact that the cost of living has gone up. They're trying to make the most money that they can from all of us, including new immigrants. So I think it's become very difficult for all of us to find something affordable, something accessible, something safe. And I see my immigrant communities, my new Detroiters falling victim to bad landlords or to fake realtors. And I think this is an issue that really impacts everyone.
I want to stay on the topic of housing for just another moment. Southwest Detroit is facing gentrification. Mm-hmm. You've spoken on it, but your environmental focus has been, I think, more visible. Mm-hmm. How do you balance development with affordability?
Mm-hmm. So development in general is incredibly expensive. So what we have to find is a way to cover some of that expense. And that goes for me, that's something that the government can do. We are looking at public housing, what that can look like, if it's possible for us to do it here. But anything new build is going to be pricey just because of the cost of everything. I'm looking at creative solutions also around cooperatives. So can we find a property that's already built that might need some repairs? Can there be a loan that's given to the tenants to be able to repair? Can tenants own the property, keep the rent low, maintain it themselves? This is possible. I know it is. I've seen cooperatives in Chicago like Pico do this very, very well, where they're able to, in their gentrified neighborhood of Pilsen, very much like Southwest Detroit's, heavy immigrants, heavy Latinx, they're moving into cooperatives, into that kind of model, because it is so expensive right now to build new, and then to just pay rents. So it's about making sure that we're able to build, that we're able to cover that cost if it's happening through the city or through new developments, that we think creatively around the properties that we already have and what those models can look like. But we have been pushing for policy solutions like the pilot program that will allow developers, any developer that's looking to develop property at lower than 60% AMI, City Council passed an ordinance that will cut that red tape so that you're able to build faster, because we want properties to be at 60% AMI or below. So we're trying to think of also how to remove red tape from the inside to get those properties built faster, to save some money, to hopefully lower the cost of the rents as well.
Council member, you are speaking like someone who is facing re-election. You have a lot of ideas, a lot of policies you want to put in place, and you are facing election. And so I do want to leave listeners, if we could, with one image from District 6, a policy, a moment, a community gesture that you think encapsulates what you're working for, what you're running for. What would it be?
That's a great question. There are very beautiful moments that we've been able to do work together on. I will just say Core City, and this is an example of many things that we've been able to do through our office, but residents coming together, identifying a problem in their neighborhood, wanting to fight back, reaching out to our office, organizing with us, inside-outside game, pushing the administration to listen, so that they're able to push the developer to be held accountable. In Core City, folks don't remember, they were dealing with a cement company, crushing company that was polluting the neighborhood. People in Core City, residents there, want to see housing, they want to see parks, they want to see green space, not concrete crushers. We were able to fight that and win. They were able to get the company to no longer be or to no longer get the permissions to pollute the way that they are in Core City. That's an example that happens over and over and over again with residents seeing an issue, reaching out to us, and we're able to help. I want to be able to do more of that. I am also a community organizer. I deeply believe in applying pressure in strategic ways to be able to get things done, and also building relationships. So being able to build those with my residents, with the people that need to listen to them so that they're able to work together and get that work done, is work that I want to be able to continue to do. And I do have a lot of ideas, not just now that I'm running for re-election. I have them consistently. I'm sure my team is tired of it. Actually, they're doing really, really wonderful work. So for me, just want to make sure that we're able to get these ideas in on paper, get them done, because I love the city deeply. It really raised me to be the fighter that I am, to be the critical thinker that I am as well. I mean, I really do believe that we have the power, the love, the care here to be able to provide us what we need moving forward.
Detroit City Council member Gabriela Santiago-Romero, thank you for joining us today on the Metro.
Thanks for having me.
This is the Metro on WDET. Our annual listener survey is out now, and your responses inform the way we produce the Metro. So let us know how we're doing. Go to wdet.org/survey. Coming up next, call it a workplace democracy. Michigan wants more companies owned by those on the front lines. Employee-owned companies aren't common in Michigan, but that could change soon with new support from the state. That's next on the Metro. Stay with us.